All right, welcome everybody to the Gateway to Grace call. My name's Elizabeth Tobin, and I do these calls the first Monday of each month. And it's wonderful to see everybody tune in every month. We've been talking about relationships this year in these Gateway to Grace sessions. And I saw a quote today by Brene Brown that really struck me. And what she said was, connection is why we're here. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. And that feels just really spot on for me, because I always feel like we're kind of here in this playground of Earth to interact with each other, to play with each other, to create with each other. And so certainly having enriching relationships and connections does enhance our lives and give purpose and meaning. And yet, so many of us avoid deep connection, while at the same time, we yearn for more authentic relationships and to feel that true, genuine connection with people in our lives. And when you think about it, whether you want an intimate couples relationship or not, whether you even are interested in friendship or not, the fact is that you're always in relationship to someone or something. We are in relationship to the food that we eat. We are in relationship to our environment. We are in relationship with Mother Earth. We are in relationship with our work. We are in relationship with our creativity. And yes, we are in relationship with other people. And there are so many different ways to be in relationship with people. There are acquaintance relationships, the person that in the coffee shop that serves your coffee every morning, or the train conductor that takes your ticket, people that you see in your neighborhood just casually on the street. We have colleague relationships. We have relationships with our neighbors. Some of them might be close relationships. Some of them might be at a very, very distance. Some of them might be even contentious relationships. We have relationships with our friends, our brothers and sisters, parental relationships, relationships with our parents, relationships with our kids. And of course, couples relationships, relationships with an intimate partner. And relationships are universal. People in all cultures, from all countries, in all walks of life, all over the globe, couple up in relationship. And I hear from so many people that as they get older and life starts to open up, their time opens up, they don't want to face sort of the last third of their life alone. They want companionship, especially if their kids have grown and have their own lives, or if friends have moved away. Friendships are important, and having a supportive social network has actually been proven to not only enrich our lives, as Brene Brown says, but also been proven to extend our health and our longevity. But having friends, that only goes so far, because friends have their own commitments. They have their own partners, their own family obligations. And I hear from people that say what they'd really, truly love to have is a committed partner relationship that's mutually supportive, that will give them companionship, someone who shares their values, someone who can be a helpmate, someone that they can count on, someone that they can do things with and share this adventure called life. Which is not to say that they don't want their alone time. They don't want to have, their solitude. That's important as well. But for so many of us, we set it up so it's an either or equation, that if we have a committed partner in that relationship, we think, oh, I'll have to give up my freedom. I'll have to give up my alone time. And we don't see that having freedom and alone time and a committed partner relationship is possible. So for so many people, they hold themselves back from relationship. And then what happens is they feel lonely and isolated, and life starts to feel flat and empty, lose its purpose and meaning. And for some people, even if they're in a partner relationship, they still feel lonely. And this is because the unconscious family, societal, and systemic patterns that we carry can get in the way of our being able to experience true connection in relationship. And it's a paradox that we can get hurt in relationship, and the medicine for our healing is also in relationship. And the irony is that when we get hurt or disappointed in relationship, then we put up these protective defenses. And this cuts us off from the very thing that we yearn for, the very thing that holds the key to our healing, that deep connection with other human beings. And I've talked to many people who experience difficulty in their relationships with their friends, or their relationship with their work, or their relationship with their purpose or their creativity. And they don't make the connection that because they've shut down the possibility of intimate relationship, that they then experience difficulty in their other relationships. So whether it's friendships, work relationships, or even their relationship with their purpose, ultimately their relationship with themselves. When you shut down the possibility of relationship in one area of your life, those same challenges that you wanted to avoid will pop up in another area of your life. And that's the beauty of this existence. And I say it's the beauty because we are all here to grow and to evolve, and life will give us the circumstances that we need in order to do the growth and the evolution. And there's also something else that happens too. So life hands you opportunities, and your own internal patterns also hand you opportunities, if you can look at it that way. And really, what's at the heart of this is wanting to feel safe and secure. Everybody wants to feel heard and understood. And that happens in relationship, whether we like it or not. Everybody wants to feel accepted for who they are. And so people are carrying family patterns and earlier wounding that inhibits them from having healthy, harmonious relationships. And without that inner sense of safety and security, it's impossible to allow yourself to really connect deeply with others, whether it's your children or your friends or a partner. And so it's these same underlying needs that draw us into relationship and that draw us out of relationship when these needs are unmet. And in these Gateway to Grace sessions that we do every month, we've touched on some of these needs, and yet these sessions are just the tip of the iceberg. The depth that we can go in these sessions is limited just because the nature, we're only meeting once a month, right? We're meeting for 60 minutes. And so these sessions, they're short. In my one-on-one client sessions and in my group sessions that I do, in addition to these Gateway to Grace calls, we have the time to actually go deeper into your patterns. Which is not to say that these Gateway to Grace sessions are not powerful. I know that they are, because I hear from many of you each month that you experience profound transformation. And yet there's so much more that we can work with, that we can do than what we can do on these Gateway to Grace calls. There's so much deeper that we can go. And that's why I offer one-on-one programs and my small group programs. And in my small group programs, there's a maximum of 6 people. And we meet over an extended period of time on a consistent basis so that we can really delve into identifying and changing your underlying family patterns, your personal patterns, the societal patterns, the systemic patterns that get in the way of this deep, authentic, genuine connection that we all yearn for. And in the safe container of the group, you get to form supportive relationships with me and the other group participants. And this also helps to change those patterns of unmet needs. And so I have 2 groups starting. The first group is for people who are not in couples relationship, and the other is for people who are in couples relationship. And in both of these groups, we'll identify and transform your underlying family, societal, and personal patterns that get in the way of you having the healthy, supportive, mutual relationships that you long for, so that you can feel safe and secure within yourself. And that translates into how you connect with others and the world around you. And this has far-reaching benefits for your personal relationships and also for your relationship with your work, your creativity, how you connect with people to live your life purpose. Remember, we're holographic beings. And so changing a pattern in one area of your life brings benefit to your entire life. And there's not a single person here who wouldn't benefit from addressing these frequently overlooked family and systemic patterns. Even if you know that you don't ever want a close couples relationship, or even if you are in a couples relationship that's committed and it's going well, just imagine opening to the possibilities of it being even better, even deeper, even more connected. Because you're always in relationship to everything. And these same patterns will show up. So we do want companionship. It's just that we want it to be happy. We want it to be harmonious, fulfilling, and hassle-free. And so both of these groups are already filling, and you can drop your phone number or your email in the chat, and I can reach out to you and we can set up a time where we can talk some more about it. So I want to move into our session today. And you can also private message me in the chat. And you can do that if you open up the chat, and then we're in the to field, you can just drop it down and send me a private message if you like. Okay, so yeah, you can send it, you can private message to the host. That's me. Yeah. Hey, Janine, I see you joined us. Welcome, welcome. Great. So let's take a pause and we'll see what we're going to do today. And so I heard from a number of people that couldn't be on the call live that asked to be proxied in. So I'm going to be including them in the session as we do it. And also including anybody who is not on the call today or being proxied in at this time, but who may see the recording on YouTube. You can also set your intention when you watch the session to be included in the session and receive the benefits. So I see we're going to proxy in Alan and Jason. Carol says she's having something to eat. Very good. Sustenance is good. Excellent. So let's see what we need here. So it's best for us to start with something from the mandala. And I'm just going to ask you to set your intention now to be included in the group field. So may I have your permission to include you? And you can set your intention and say yes. Okay, and so the best way for us to approach today's session, there are different ways that we can do a group session like this. And so the best way for us to do the session today is to focus on one person as the voice of the group. No, it's best to do this as a proxy session. Yes, okay. So we're going to start with something from orientation, problems into opportunities. Yes, okay. So problems into opportunities. So looking at a problem and looking at the opportunity for growth and healing that it offers us. And there's anything that we need to hear from the introduction? Yes. Okay, so let's see what we need here. So it says that the power in every problem is that it motivates us to identify where we are out of sync within ourselves. And so if you think about this in terms of relationship, if you're experiencing a challenge or a problem in a relationship, the first thing to do is to look within yourself to see where you are out of sync with yourself. so that you can return to your natural state of well-being. And then once you're able to return to your natural state of well-being, this automatically leads to positive change, to a sense of happiness, optimism, perseverance, energy, strength. And at that higher level, that higher vibration, people then interact with you in a different way. And so let's see what we need here. So it's best for us to identify a problem. Yes, okay. And now I need to ask the group, what is the problem? Yes, okay. So just asking you to just take a pause. And the question for you is, what is the problem that you're facing at this time? And you can raise your hand or you can pop it into the chat. So what is the problem that you're facing at this time? So Anne says, isolating myself. Yeah. And so what's the problem with that? Why is that causing a problem for you, Anne?
I guess I would, this is Anne, hi. Isolating myself, I guess pushing people away. It's like part of it is I've moved and I'm back home with my parents. Part of it is the post-pandemic stuff, but wanting to do stuff with people, not having anyone. And it's like, I want to reach out, but I don't. Or even when I'm with people, I found when I'm back visiting Chicago where I lived, you know, I find like there's a barrier between, or I'm sort of holding myself back or pushing them away. And I don't know why I'm doing that. I didn't used to be like that. So it's like I want relationships, but yet I'm actively kind of not. I'm doing the opposite, you know.
Yeah, I call that the dance of advance and retreat, where we get into this sort of pattern of, you know, wanting to connect and then something pulled us back. So thank you.
There actually was a book title. Sometimes you learn so much from just the title of a book, but a book that I saw on a shelf once saying "Hiding from Love." And I thought, you know, that's interesting because you could be doing that and not really aware that you're doing that.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. And that's, you know, whatever relationship you're talking about, the basis, excuse me, my throat here. The basis of it is love. And if we're hiding from love, we're hiding from ourselves and from others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So Carol says, going through so many changes that it's disorienting, even distressing, because I tend to self-criticize in the transition to where I am intending. Yeah, that's kind of like what Abraham Hicks says, being able to hold where you are now versus where you want to be. So I am, what is there? They frame it, I'm enjoying where I am in relation to where I am going. And so that's a relationship, right? Where you are now in relation to where you are going. Yeah. And so Jeanette says, not allowing myself to go with the flow of life and trusting all will be as it is destined. getting too anxious and controlling the circumstances at times. Ah, yes, right. And it's an interesting concept, destiny, right? And sometimes it's hard to know, like, what is divine right timing, what is destiny, and where am I getting in the way of that? Where are my patterns getting in the way of that? Yeah. And so Nancy says procrastination. Janine says, I limit my contact with others because of fear of overwhelm. Yes. Yes. Anne Marie says, feeling of stickiness, not stuckness. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to check. There's any more that we need to look at here? No. Okay. Oh, Tabitha's going to Spain. Yay. Finally. Beautiful. Okay. So let's see what we need here. So this is the best way to word it. Yeah. So say I isolate myself. I push people away. I want to reach out, but I don't. There's a barrier between me and others. I am hiding from love. Yeah, and we're resonating with that. That is on. So let's see what's needed next. So at this time, we need to do an energy constriction release. We don't. So the negative feeling, is this overwhelm? Yes. And it's also fear. Yes. And there's something more. No, that's it. So say I feel fear and overwhelmed. Yeah, and that's on. So now we're going to just go a little bit deeper here. And so what is the fear? What are you afraid of? And you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So not belonging, being rejected and hurt feelings, being disrespected, being disappointed or taken advantage of, fear of being found out, being seen or exposed, fear for physical safety when alone. Yeah. Success and entrapment alternating with failure to do what I have committed to do. Yeah. Yeah, you can really feel that sort of that dance of advance and retreat, the I've committed to do something here. That's the advance. And then the retreat is, oh, the fear of being entrapped or being successful. So let's see. There's something more that's needed. No. So I'm just going to see. Yeah, fear, I won't be able to take care of myself. That deep sense of security that we all long for, right? Fear that maybe love really can't happen. So let's see, there's something here. I'm just going to check. This is around the not belonging. It's around the rejection and the hurt feelings, the disrespect, disappointed, taken advantage of, being found out, being seen and exposed. That's what it is. Yeah. And there's something more with that. Yeah. Okay. And let's see what else is here. It's around the success and entrapment. It's the physical safety. Yeah. It's something more. No. Okay. So there's something here, being seen, exposed, and physically hurt. So say, I'm afraid of being seen, exposed, and physically hurt. Yeah, and that's resonating. And there is no action I can do to alleviate my stress. Yeah, that's on. So there's a primary negative attitude that we need to identify. There is. And this is something from this index here. So it's something from number 1, number 2, number 3. So there's a savior attitude. Ties into that sort of overcommitment, right? Of getting entrapped. If I make a commitment, I'll be trapped. So what weakness in yourself do you imagine makes you feel that it's your responsibility to make everything and everyone okay and happy? What is it within yourself that makes you feel like that's your responsibility? So you can pop it into the chat or raise your hand. Fear of being happy. Maybe fear of not being lovable. Behind the fear is loneliness, forgotten. If I didn't reach out, no one would care. It physically hurts. Yeah, yeah. DNA programming. It's the only way to be loved is to take responsibility and make sure everybody's happy. Yeah, nobody will love me if I don't make sure all their needs are met first. Yeah, I'll be left out. Always having been blamed. Yeah. So there's something more we need to look at. No. So I'm just going to check here. Yeah. So no one will love me or take care of me. So if I don't take responsibility for everyone, no one will love me or take care of me. So let's check that. So say, if I don't take responsibility for everyone, no one will love me or take care of me. And that is resonating. So there's something from here. Yeah. So it's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, here you go. I must sacrifice myself. And we need this part, and do without. You can, fill in the blank, do without love, do without security, connection, safety, right? And do without in order to help others. So say, I must sacrifice myself and do without in order to help others. And that's resonating. And I just want you to take a moment and think about, where does that relate to you in your life? What aspect of your life do you see that pattern at work? Mm. Yeah. So both Janine and Carol, um, leftover sadness and grief in the family of origin. All I can do is help them. It's very primal. If I don't keep my mother happy, she'll go ballistic. And I didn't heal my parents' relationship. Yeah. And so, yeah, what happens if you don't heal their relationship? Then your safety is in jeopardy because the family is in jeopardy, right? Yeah. And Dawn says it's easier if everybody else around her is happy. I only have to deal with my emotions and not feel the unhappiness of others, right? That feeds into the overwhelm. Yeah. Yeah. Kiffin says, until recently, I was allowing clients to book whenever. Now I'm working with clients on a 3-month program. My energy is much happier, and they're seeing the benefits of consistent care. Absolutely. And so that's a real shift within you to be able to say, I can put myself and my needs into this situation, and it's a win-win. It's more satisfying for me to work with people in a longer program, and they get better results. Win. Yeah. So let's see, there's something more we need to look at here. No, okay. So then we need to go to this section here. Something from here. Yeah, so there's a brain area that we need to focus on. So the brain area. Let's see here. So the brain area is something here from, let's see. Something from number 1, 2, 3. It's in the cingulate gyrus. And so issues manifest as repetitive thoughts, resistance to change, inflexibility, and the automatic no, right? Putting the wall up, no connection. Being argumentative and unpleasant emotions and memories. And so you can see how the cingulate gyrus connects into this pattern of holding ourselves back, right? Resistance, the automatic no. And so there's a non-coherent aspect we need to switch off, and it's something from 1 through 5. 6, 7, 8. I complain about someone's behavior. So this is a specific person. Yeah, so think about whose behavior do you complain about? Whose behavior do you complain about? Spouse, my sister, my dad, son. Yeah. Yeah, so those are very close, potentially close relationships, right? Primary relationships, I should say. Yeah. My friends, my son's girlfriend. Yeah. So let's check this. There's a specific person we need to put in here. So each of you can fill in the blank here when we're checking this. So say, I complain about blank's behavior. Yeah, and we're resonating with that. Yeah, so just take a little pause. And at this time, we need to go to the modalities. We need to go to the modalities. And what's needed is something from spiral up, inner cultivation, family systems 1. Yes. So working with the family system, no surprise when we're talking about relationships. And what's needed here is something from A, B, C, something from D, something from E, something from F, G, H through L, M. So this is giving and taking with balance. So remember, we talked about taking responsibility for other people's happiness, right? And so that's an aspect of giving and taking being out of balance. And so there's something that's needed here from number 1, number 2, number 3. So this is assuming the responsibility for the negative that we gave in relationship. Yeah. So in every relationship, there's a need to balance what we give and what we take. And when the balance is broken, then a need to compensate arises, whether for beneficial, someone gives you a gift, right? You reciprocate, or the need to compensate could be for harmful things. Someone does something from you and then retaliation. And so the purpose of this modality is that we assume responsibility for the negative that we have given in relationship. And so just going to check here. So this is for we need to focus on parents, siblings. It's the people that you complain about, okay? So you identified in that statement, I complain about blank. So now we're going to do this relationship, do this modality for that relationship. And so even your complaining, right, is an aspect of giving them something negative. Even if you don't complain to their face, you're still holding them in a light of complaint, right? You're holding them energetically in this energy of complaining. And that's a negative that you're giving them. So what we're going to do is close your eyes. Mute here. So close your eyes and imagine this person. And imagine where this negativity is stored, the negativity from your complaints. Where is that stored? And it could be in their body, or it might be stored someplace else. And now what I'd like you to do is imagine or visualize that this negative load is coming back to you. And it's coming back to you lovingly. It's coming back to you in a way that is freeing for you and for them, that you can take responsibility for this negativity that you gave. So imagine this negative load is coming back to you because you are taking responsibility for it, and you have the capacity to do something positive with it. And now you're going to say to the person out loud, you're going to say, I gave you all of this. And now I want to assume my responsibility. I do not want to be in debt with you, so I take it back. I assume my responsibility. And I leave you yours. Now we can be in peace. Okay. And now imagine, feel, or visualize that you're both free and complete, and you can feel at peace. So what you've done when you've taken back the negative of your complaints, you freed yourself and the other person. You're no longer tied to them in a negative way. You're no longer in debt to them. And if you feel uncomfortable with taking back this negative load, this burden, it can be transformed creatively into a symbol of responsibility that is adequate for your situation. And so, for example, I imagined it was like a shroud that I took from the person. And then the shroud turned into butterflies and the butterflies flew away. So you can turn this into a positive symbol so that you're free and the other person is free. And so take a moment if you need to and do that. Good. And this is complete. Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So, how's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Kiffen's good? Yeah. Good. Okay. So now it's best to go back and recheck the statements. Yes. Okay. Good. So say, I isolate myself. I push people away. I want to reach out, but I don't. There's a barrier between me and others. I am hiding from love. Yeah, and that's not resonating. That is off. Good. And say, I feel fear and overwhelm. And that is off. We're not resonating with that anymore. Just notice what it feels like now when we go back and say these statements again. You may notice you feel lighter, or maybe you'll notice that now the statements seem neutral. There's not the emotional charge that there was the first time. Say, I'm afraid of being seen and exposed and physically hurt. And there's no action I can do to alleviate my stress. Yeah, and that's off. Good. And this is the savior archetype, the shadow side of it. Say, if I don't take responsibility for everyone, no one will love me or take care of me. That's off. Say, I must sacrifice myself and do without in order to help others. Yeah, and that's off. And say, I complain about blank. Whoever fill in the blank is. And that's off. Good, good. Excellent, good. So I'm just going to check here. There is a positive action that's needed for this session. Yeah. And so the positive action is something that you can do after the session that's going to help you to integrate these shifts. And so you can do this either as a visualization, or you can do this as a real sort of outward action. So take a moment and just tune in and see. So what could you do to compensate this person for the negative that you've given them through your complaints? So it could be visualizing them with love. It could be opening your heart and imagining that you're streaming love to them in the form of maybe pink light or green light. Or maybe there's actually a concrete action, perhaps an apology, or maybe buy them flowers. Whatever comes up for you. Yeah. And so that's the positive action that you can do after the session. And you're going to do that today, do it tomorrow, do it the next day. So do it today and do it tomorrow. Something just to sort of compensate the other person, to balance out that energy of the complaint. Yeah. So let's check. There's anything more that's needed from the session? No, the session is complete. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Let's see. So does anybody have any questions? If it says thank you, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody have any questions, or is there anything that you'd like to share? Just typing here in the chat here. Good, good. So thank you, everybody. So as I mentioned, I do have 2 groups forming. I've already got people signed up, so they'll be forming later this month and then early next month. If you would like to talk to me about the groups, feel free to reach out and we can set up a time to talk. You can pop your info into the chat, or you can reach me at et@liztobin.com. I can also stay on the call if you wanted to set up an appointment right on the call today. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna stop the recording. Here we go.